so many years. So congratulations, Pam Beckham as well. Isn't it ironic? Isn't it ironic? We are at the JFK Library in a beautiful city with this really ugly background, but yet we're Boston strong. And Gene, you know what? You were Tip Strong this year. And it's no better place to celebrate Tip Strong this year because of you. So come on up. So on behalf of Tips, this is one of the coolest plaques you can get as a chair. It's like all embossed out, right? It's got all the signatures of council embossed in there, and I have one proudly on my desk. To Eugene G. Beckham, who has given generously for many years of his time and talent in the service of the tort trial insurance practice section of the American Bar Association. As a committee member, as a chair, as a member of council, and during the past year as the chair of the section. The section expressly and hereby appreciates you, and we give gratitude for your contributions which you have made to TIPS. Not only to TIPS, but to membership, to the legal profession, and to the public for all the years you have served us. And to Gene Beckham, please stand. And I am honored to give him this award.
Seemed like a good idea at the time. Ich bin ein Tipster. That was Tom Davis's idea, but I couldn't resist it. So thank you. And I may never get to speak to a large and distinguished group like this again. And I sort of promised myself that if I ever had this chance, I would say something which I think is important. So I'd like to say that don't drive the speed limit with the cruise control in the passing lane. But seriously, you know, this year hasn't really been about me. It's always been about the members of the general committees, but there's a little bit of me in this, and I'm going to talk about myself a little bit, even though I don't think it's the best thing to do. But I just want to tell you that maybe the reason that whatever happened this year happened is because I didn't ever intend to be chair of TIPS. I didn't want really to be chair of TIPS for most of my career. I've never headed up anything before. I think that maybe it was just this sort of, the way I approached this was I always sort of figured that I was still one of those people that was an entry-level person. And I guess all of a sudden was being asked to make some decisions that had a lot of importance. And that's what I tried to do. And I came to TIPS because I needed help for my two-person law firm. And I'd gotten a client and didn't know what to do. And I came here and joined the trucking committee. And I got one of my two biggest clients 18 years ago from TIPS. And I've stayed a vice chair of that committee ever since. And I found the help I needed. And through it turned out a way for me and Pam to see and eat our way from coast to coast. And in the beginning, that was enough. We didn't have any money to go on vacations, but we had a reason. We opened up our firm to keep coming to TIPS. And we started meeting people and started having fun. And along the way and over the years, I saw a lot of things, and I collected a lot of information and ideas. Some of them were actually even mine. And I began to understand how things fit together and how maybe they didn't fit together. And as it turned out, I liked it, and I was sort of good at some of it. And the Peter Principle means if you're good at something, they'll keep pushing you up until you fail. And, you know, so I ended up being here. And, you know, I really realized a couple of years ago that when I had this chance, the real opportunity I had was to try to make sure that everybody would have the opportunities I had. And I think that that's the reason that I believe the general committees are all we have and all we're about. And that we all are servants of the general committees, and all the task force and the standing committees are the life support for them to make sure they can do their job. And they don't serve the chair serves them. And I think that that's, if I could leave one thing here, instilled in the leadership, all of you here who are the leadership, is that that's what we have to offer everybody. And I've said it a lot of times, all the TIPS has to offer our members, 26,000 almost, members, is our general committees and the education and the opportunities. And when I thought of this, I thought I was a genius at the time, but when I was talking to the ABA leaders last year, the HOD brunch, I said we specialize in opportunity. Isn't that what we do? Don't we have room for everyone who can show up and do the work? And all of us here, because we showed up and volunteered and we did the work. So as long as we're making time and room for people to come in, we're going to be doing our job, and we're going to be giving the people that trust us to run this section the right way the opportunities they need. And I think that's what we're all about. A TIPS leader wiser than me, I don't know who it was, someone here knows because I've heard him say it, I wish I could give it attribution, right? Said that when the service is done, what you have left are the relationships. And my TIPS services ended up being where my best friends are. And where many of my best memories have been recently. And I heard a lot of old guys say that when I first started, and I thought it was ridiculous. But it isn't. And this has been an enriching experience for me. And I hope that you all can get some part of that too. So during the year, I've called a lot of you by the wrong name. I've screwed up which committee you're on. I've forgotten to mention people who were right in front of me I'm supposed to mention, because I got up here and thought everything was going well and didn't look at my notes. I've mispronounced a lot of names, but through it all, you've all given me a break. I appreciate that. And so, before I go into the very end of this, I'd like to recognize an old friend who's done a lot for the section and has done a lot for me. He's always been under the radar and has never sought attention, maybe never gotten attention, but has been a real producer under the radar, like I said, behind the scenes. And so, although I hope it doesn't embarrass him, I want you all to recognize my friend Bill Barker. It was a long time to be embarrassed you like this. When I had a chance to pick the Long Range Planning Committee, he was the first person I called, and he sat right by me, tried to make me not do stupid things, and he didn't always succeed. But he's been a good friend and a real TIPS leader for a long time, so thank you very much, Bill. I appreciate it. I also want to thank Holly Polblaze. Where are you sitting, Holly? Hermes Netburn in Boston. Thank Boston, thank Hermes Netburn. But Holly was there for me for this meeting. And anyone all the people that came up and said, can I help you this year? A lot of them saw how helpless I really was on some of these things. And I had no idea how to plan a meeting. I had no idea how to plan CLE. There were a lot of people who helped me with all of it. Holly showed up first. She was there every time. And Dick, you gave me some pretty crappy meeting times. And Randy, you didn't do any better. We were 7 o'clock in the morning, and she was there every time, even though the annual meeting went last. So Holly, thank you. So, Pam, I'm in trouble for even bringing your name up, but that I've had the advantage a lot of people don't have to come to TIPS meetings, which was I was bringing my best friend. And she's her own accomplished TIPS leader, and the people that maybe have come in recently don't know that she is a TIPS leader, served on council before I did, and is going to continue to be a TIPS leader. But she's my best friend. I met her in law school, fell in love with her the first day, and so thank you. You've been a great part of this journey. And she took the line tonight. And I've got to mention my brother-in-law. That's it. Dr. Hirsch from Sarasota. it up. I want to tell you a few lessons and observations. I hope that the true way to measure the success of a TIPS chair is by the opportunities he or she creates for members. That's what I felt my job was, is to create opportunities for members. I want you to remember, a person from a small firm can be chair of TIPS. No one can be ready for all of this job or all of a lot of the other jobs in here. But with the support of the section, you can do it. I mean, of the staff, you can do it. And so don't be afraid. If you think that this is the right thing for you, if you think you're the right person to serve our members, if you have the way to give our members the opportunities, give it a shot. The staff can support you and make sure that you can do it. Our business. Pages are starting to stick together now. Last thing that I'd like to say is that I don't think that we should encourage serious young leaders to race up and out of the section. And so I think when people are spotted that really have the talent to be section leaders, we should not encourage them to rush onto council and to be done with. And so I just would hope that those of you who this definition fits, and those of you who are working with those kind of people, will encourage them to get the seasoning and the breadth that will help them be real section leaders in the future. So I know I'm gonna have some difficulty letting go. I've had my chance. I'm not going anywhere, but your support, trust, and friendship have made this all worthwhile. So thank you very much. You know, the only thing standing between us and our future is me right now. So I don't know if I can read as quickly as Maureen did, but she really tried. And so I'll tell you, I've met Mike a few times, Mike Drunke. He'd already been elected to council. We had a revenue officer who was a disaster. And before we could fire him, he quit. After about 6 months, Mike left council, volunteered for, I don't remember exactly how long your term was. It was at least 3 years.
3.5.
3.5. Back in the old days, they used to bring people who were in the cities where we were going to go on to try to squeeze money out of the law firms. That was the sponsorship program we had, basically. And Mike came in, and he put some sense to it. I watched him do it. The structure and many of the sponsors that we have now are the ones that Mike put in place years and years ago. I was fascinated by how well they did it, the time he was putting into it. I was putting in time into the membership stuff I was doing, but I saw him doing and getting real results in this, and I was really impressed. Energy, innovation. I didn't know him, but it was my first year on council. I found out he was running for chair, and I'd been impressed with him. Later on, I found out that Randy was running for chair. I don't need really to rehash all what happened, but let's suffice it to say I was one of the less than 13 people that thought Mike was going to be the next chair. And I want to tell you, it's not a secret, but time has proven that the council made the right decision. Randy was the right person at that time to follow and work with Ginger. I don't think there's any question about it. And I can tell you that I feel very fortunate to have been in a position to be working with Mike for the last couple of years. And I think that right now we are in a great position for what his talents are going to bring us. And so we've worked very closely over the last couple of years. We've shared our dreams and visions, and Mike has big dreams and Mike has big plans. And I'm really excited about it. And so without further pedantry,